Before the era of TV, people sat in front of their radios and listened to music, news reports, plays, and various other programs for entertainment. In 1938, the most popular program radio was called the Chase and Sunburn Hour, which aired on Sunday evenings at 8 p.m. The star of the show was a ventriloquist, Edgar Bergen, and a dummy, Charlie McCarthy. Fortunately, the Mercury Group, headed by dramatist Orson Welles, and their show, Mercury Theater on the Air, aired at another station at the exact same time as the popular Chase and Sunburn show. Welles, of course, tried to think of ways for his audience, hoping to take their listeners away from the Chase and Sunburn Hour. For Mercury's group's Halloween show, which aired on October 30th, 1938, Welles decided to adapt H.G. Wells' The War of the World to radio. Radio adaptations and plays up to this point had seemed rudimentary and awkward. Instead, lots of people, as in a book or through visual and auditory presentations, as in play and radio programs, could only be heard and not seen, and were limited to a short period of time, often an hour, including commercials. Thus, Orson Welles had one of his writers, Howard Crouch, rewrite the story of War of the Worlds. With multiple revisions by Welles, the script transformed from a novel into a radio play. Besides shortening the story, they also updated it by changing the location time from Victoria, England to present-day New England. These changes reinvigorated the story, making it personal to all of its listeners.
On Sunday, October 30th, 1938, millions of radio listeners were shocked when radio news alerts announced the arrival of Martians. They panicked when they learned of the Martians' furious and seemingly unstoppable attack on Earth. Many ran out of their homes screaming, while others packed up their cars and fled. Though the radio listeners heard was a proportion of Orson Welles' adaptation of well-known book War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells. Many of the listeners believed what they heard on the radio was real. This became known as the panic broadcast.
Son, come clear your plate.
We didn't even eat yet. I'm starving.
Hey, we had a potato today, so stop complaining. And at least we still have our lovely radio. I love the radio. Honey, come sit with us by the fire and radio. Go grab some Hoover blankets because we need whatever we can to help stay warm because it's so cold in this Great Depression.
I can't wait to listen to the radio. My favorite show is Chase and Sunburn. The radio is such a great thing. Love it.
Shh. The music section's done. Let me turn it on. Son, come back in here. Son, I think some interesting history in the making is happening right now. You shouldn't miss it.
We know now that in the early years of the 20th century, this world was being watched closely by intelligences greater than man's and yet as mortal as his own.
Actually, the broadcast was all done from inside a studio, but the script led people to believe that there were announcers, orchestras, and scientists airing from various locations all over the country.
I'm here with interviewee Professor Pearson. I've just been handed an important newsletter stating that a huge shock of almost earthquake intensity occurred near Princeton. Professor Pearson believes it might be a meteorite. Another news bulletin announces it is reported that at 8:50, a huge flaming object believed to be a meteorite fell on a farm in the neighborhood of Grover's Mill, New Jersey, 22 miles from Trenton.
Oh my God!
Oh, the cylinder, it's making a hissing sound. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the most terrifying thing I've ever witnessed. Wait a minute, someone's calling. Someone or something I can see appearing out of that black hole. Two luminescent discs. Are they eyes? It might be a face. It might be. Good heavens, something's wriggling out of the shadows like a gray snake. Now it's another one, and another one, and another one. They look like tentacles to me. There, I can see the thing's body. It's indescribable. I can hardly force myself to keep looking at it. It's so awful. The eyes are black and gleam like a serpent. The mouth is kind of V-shaped with saliva dripping from its rimless lips that seem to quiver and pulsate. A hump shape is rising out of the pit. I can make out a small beam of light against the mirror. What's that? There's a jet of flame springing from the mirror, and it leaps right at the advancing men. It strikes them head on. Good Lord, they're turning into flame. Now the whole field's caught fire. The woods, the barns, the gas tanks of automobiles. It's spreading everywhere. It's coming this way, about 20 yards to my right. Ladies and gentlemen, I've just been handed a message that came from Grover's Mill by telephone. Just one moment, please. At least 40 people, including 6 state troopers, lie dead in a field east of the village of Grover's Mill. Their bodies burned by distortion beyond all possible recognition. The state militia is mobilizing with 7,000 men and surrounding the metal object. They too are soon obliterated by the heat ray.
Oh my God!
Here's the Secretary of Interior to address the nation.
I shall not try to conceal the gravity of the situation that confronts the country, nor the concern of your government in protecting the lives and property of its people. We must continue the performance of our duties, each and every one of us, so that we may confront this destructive adversary with a nation united, courageous, and consecrated to the preservation of human supremacy on this earth.
Supremacy.
I am declaring that New York City is being evacuated. I repeat, New York City is being evacuated. Here's your friendly reminder that this is in fact only a story of survival and none of these events are real. I hope you enjoyed this Halloween treat and will tune in next week for the next section of this exciting story.
I need to call the radio station. I need to call the police. 911? Hello? Hello?
I'm having a heart attack.
In the name of the Father, the Mother, and all of their sons. Amen.
Wait, they actually believe me? Ha ha ha! What kind of moron would believe that something this awful would happen? Ha ha! 1 million people? Deaths already being reported?
This works as a gas mask. Here, quick, put one on. We need to be protected against the aliens.
Thank you.
Oh no, the aliens are coming. Gotta kill myself.
Chaos in the streets.
Hours after the program had aired and listeners realized that Martian invasion was not real, the public was outraged at Orson Welles and for fooling them. Many people tried to sue him. Others wondered if Welles had caused the panic on purpose. The power of the radio had fooled the listeners. They had become accustomed to believing everything that they heard on the radio without questioning it. And now they had learned their lesson the hard way. Hours after the program had aired and listeners realized that Martian invasion was not real, the public was outraged at Orson Welles and for fooling them. Many people tried to sue him. Others wondered if Welles had caused the panic on purpose. The power of the radio had fooled the listeners. They had become accustomed to believing everything that they heard on the radio without questioning it. And now they had learned their lesson the hard way.